Today we're going to talk about the electron cloud model. This is going to allow us to be able to see how the atoms laid out, but it'd be a little bit more specific than we were being before, and in fact showing where electrons are specifically located in the cloud. So first we have to start with what we've been working on, which is finding out the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons that are in a given atom. So today we're going to go ahead and use sodium as our example. So go ahead and draw yourself a periodic table square box. Go ahead and put Na in there for sodium. Go ahead and write sodium. Our atomic number is 11 and our mass is 22.99, and that's coming straight off of my periodic table. Okay, so there we are with sodium coming off the periodic table. Now we need to find the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So we know that our atomic number is equal to our number of protons. So for one atom of sodium, we have 11 protons. If we have 11 protons that have a positive charge, we also have to have 11 electrons in a neutral atom to balance those protons. And then I need to also figure out how many neutrons we have. Neutrons, remember, are a little trickier. We have to take this mass, 22.99, and round it to the nearest whole number, so that would be 23. And then we need to subtract 11, which is our atomic number, and that's going to give you 12. So we have 12 neutrons. So this tells you what's going on in one atom of sodium. Now, the one thing with the electron cloud model that you also need to know is how many valence electrons. Okay, and valence electrons you might see as VE minus. Okay, our VE minuses are our valence electron count. And remember, valence electrons are on the outside of the atom. Okay, they're not outside of it necessarily, but they're the outer, let me fix this, the outer edge of the atom. Let's put it that way, the outer edge of the atom. Okay, so that's what they are. So those valence electrons are the outer edge of the atom electrons, and therefore those are found on the outside. Okay, so how do I find the number of valence electrons? Well, we talked about this a little bit before, but if I look at my periodic table of elements, it actually is laid out in a way that helps me to figure out how many valence electrons there are. Everybody in group number 1 or family number 1 has 1 valence electron. Everybody here in group 2 has 2. We're going to skip the transition metals, the lower ones for now. We're going to go to group 13. Now you can't have 13, you can only have 8. So what we're going to do is ignore that 1, and it has 3. This group has 4, this group has 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if I use that pattern, 1, 2, skip a few, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I look at where sodium's located, it's in that first family, so it only has 1 valence electron. So now I know that it has 1 VE minus. Remember, these come from within the square. This comes from which family it's in. Okay? Now it has that 1 valence electron. So now we're ready to draw our cloud model. We're going to go ahead and draw an inner circle. That's the nucleus. And what am I going to put in the nucleus? Which one of these guys over here? Right? First, we're going to put our 11 P positives in there. Okay? And we're going to put, what else is going to go in our nucleus? Our neutrons. So we're going to put our 12 neutrons in our nucleus. So that's done, and that's done. Now I need to take care of my electrons. So if I have 1 valence electron on the outer edge of my atom, how many electrons do I have that are in the cloud? Okay, so cloud electrons are Ce minus. Those are the ones that are just sort of floating around. Those are in the cloud. Okay? So if I have one of the 11 that are valence electrons, how many are left to be cloud electrons? So I just take that one away from the 11 and I get 10. 10 cloud electrons. So now when I go to draw my cloud, which is outside the nucleus, okay, I'm going to draw a circle on the outside. That circle is representative of my valence electron, my one valence electron. And then I'm going to just write 10 Ce minus. Actually, made a mistake there. You're not going to write Ce minus. You're just going to write 10E minus. So this shows that there's 10 electrons in the cloud, 1 electron on the outer edge, 11 protons in the center, 12 neutrons in the center. This is an electron cloud model. Okay, if you're done and you feel like you got it, go ahead. We're going to do another one real quick here. Okay, this time around, we're going to go ahead and pick something a little bit different. We're going to pick oxygen. So you're going to have oxygen there. Oxygen has an atomic number of 8. It has 16 as its mass. So I'm going to run through this real quick. You do 8 protons because that's the atomic number. You have 8 electrons because if you have 8 positives, you have 8 negatives. And then how many neutrons are we going to have? We're going to do 16. We don't have to round it because it's a whole number, minus the atomic number, which is 8. So then there's 8. So this one has 8, 8, and 8. Now I need to take a second and figure out how many valence electrons I have and how many cloud electrons I have. So how do I know my valence electrons? I go back to my periodic table. I do 1, 2, skip a few, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's in the 16th group, so it has 6 valence electrons. So that means it has 6 electrons on the outer edge, which means how many are left to be in the cloud? Let's take a look. You have 8 electrons total, so 6 electrons are on the outside. That means that there has to be 2 left in the cloud. So here, let's draw our atom. Now we have all the pieces. So I'm going to draw again a circle in the center. That's going to house my protons and my neutrons. And then I'm going to draw the cloud. How many am I going to put on the outside of the cloud? That's what the VEs are. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't really matter where you put them. It could be anywhere. Okay? And then what am I going to put in the cloud? 2 E minuses in the cloud. Okay? So now it's time for you to practice.